Okay, here we are again, looking to get back into where we left off. Probably try this a few more times, see if I can make any progress. Also testing the controller a little bit. It feels like there was a little bit of latency. I think my cable's not so great. I like to try to play with it hard plugged in. I don't really like the wireless function. Probably farm this for a little bit though. I need to get more of these little things to make sure I've got enough of the trap tools or whatever they call them, items, just to make this a little easier. So I'm going to do a couple resets of this, but otherwise I may actually go head up. I found a boss late last night up here in the Bellheart area. So I may go do that, but she seemed incredibly difficult, and I'm not sure I'm even ready for that either. That's really interesting because games like this are very hard, and I'm old enough to know when back when dinosaurs were really when I was gaming initially, games were just intentionally built difficult for either one of two reasons. One is they didn't have enough memory to really allow you to save the game, so they made it challenging for replayability for whatever reason. There was also the arcade side of it, which was how do we make sure that kids or even adults at the time would put in more quarters into those machines. And come to find out, when I was really little, we had gotten one of those arcade systems, and we could change the difficulty on it. So there's a non-zero chance that the difficulty that you might have played on an arcade was super ramped up. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it, but I guess to a degree it was kind of a pay-to-win system, one of the earliest ones. I do kind of laugh at the fact that people complain today that stuff's pay-to-win when it's kind of existed from the get-go. Card games work very similarly. They're definitely pay-to-win. They have been since the onset. You would pay to get baseball cards and collect those, and those were money. But I guess you weren't really playing so much in those days, but playing with those cards as much versus collecting them. But I was into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid, and it was definitely, you paid for, if you wanted those rare cards, you often had to pay for it, because just popping up random decks wasn't really going to net you that unless the card gods were in your favor. Never worked for me. I never pulled a Charizard out of a pack, that's for sure. Anyway, a little bit of boring gameplay. Trying to just farm up a little bit more of these resources. We'll probably stop at a couple hundred just to make sure that I've got enough. And this is unfortunately the game, a bit of the gameplay loop when you're trying to get things. Just to kind of throw it out there, you do get currency here, and I do have a lot. I could go and buy some more shard bundles, but I have a feeling that with all the collections that I've done here, I'm going to need it soon. Knock all those. And I'm sure there's a way more efficient way to do this than I am. Also, just for the record, there's a couple of things here. So, one big thing is that I have an upgrade to allow me to do this. I have an upgrade to allow me to wall jump, and also this fun little thing is a lot more challenging on a controller than it is on a keyboard. I am currently using my DualSense controller, and I highly recommend that you take your thumb completely off of the left stick, because otherwise you'll do exactly what I did right there. You want to just make sure that you're flicking that straight down and that you're oriented the right way. Once you do it a few times, quite a few times, it gets easier. It took me a little bit to practice on the computer before I got it. The PC is, like on the keyboard, is ridiculously easy to do that. It almost breaks the game, in my opinion. All right, here we are again. That's a first. I've not slid out of that arena before. Wait a minute. Down one. Not a good thing that I just realized is I don't have to reset. I can just pop in and out of the area, and these things will respawn. So maybe we'll just do that for a bit. Yeah, look at that. Nice. Now that I think about it, I've seen that a few times where the smaller enemies tend to respawn, which kind of is nice for this. I think that's intentional. It gives you the ability to just farm some of this stuff a little faster. Kind of curious. There's let's actually swap charms here. Crests, whatever they call that. Let's see. Change. Let's go to this one, and then we'll populate a tool. And use. I think I get 2 yellow slots, so that'll be interesting. I don't know if that's a tool. So I don't get access to this. All we need for the moment. Now what this crest does is it makes my attack a lot faster, which technically can increase your damage output because you can hit a lot faster. It also gives you a down mode, so you can do this for days, which a lot of people just swap in order to do this. This is more like the Hollow Knight pogoing, which makes, way easier, right? But I think that lack of mobility might end up being a bit of a problem in some boss fights. Maybe I can get a few more hits in with this, against the mini boss here. The only downside is I gotta be a lot faster. That's pretty nice, actually. So if you're used to Hollow Knight, the original gameplay loop, that might make this a little easier for you to start with. I don't know if it makes it harder to end with, but I imagine that they probably balance these decently well. May as well give it a shot now. Well, that was a lot easier. Holy cow, look at the damage on that. That's crazy. Well, look at that. Beat. So, I guess muscle memory galore on that one, eh? Here we go. Bunch of beads. This is the main currency, if you don't know. And it seems like there's stretches in this game where you don't get to spend the stuff. So one thing you can do, and you only do a maximum of these, is you can convert them into strings or frayed strings. And I think there's another higher version of this, but you only have 20 of these in at a time. So I'm rocking about 413. Probably need to convert some in case I die. But yeah, wasn't expecting to do that one shot with this setup. So there you go. Something to consider when you play. In any case, gonna call it quits here, and we'll upload this.